What's going on, YouTube? A couple of little projects here that I'll probably shoot some video on. Number one, my fuel pressure issue with that truck has returned. This time just on one tank. I apologize for the wind noise. I'll get in here out of it. So I've got that to figure out. The other project is this guy. Picked this up this past weekend. It is a Yamaha Big Bear 350. Four-wheel drive, dual range, reverse. As you can see, I couldn't help myself, so I've started into a few projects here already. I'll try and backtrace my steps here, show you what we're working on with this. So a couple of things that they said were wrong with this bike. One is that he said the fuel petcock drips. I have yet to see evidence of that. The other being, he said it kicks itself out of high range between gears when you shift. So this is a high and low range, and then it's got a semi-automatic transmission. So you've got 5 gears, no clutch. You just bang through them. I have experienced that once, that it kicked itself into neutral. I simply just bumped that lever forward and it re-engaged. I haven't had an issue since. So I have a feeling that there's either an adjustment in this linkage someplace, or maybe a detent that needs to be adjusted, and that is likely to fix my issue. A couple other things. I'm not real crazy about this. I don't know if you can see that or not, but the shift lever is kind of loose. There, you can probably see that better. It's loose on the shaft there. Seems like the splines in the shift lever itself are kind of worn, but it's hanging on. It's working. It's doing okay. Carburetor needs some work on this guy. Doesn't have half the power that it should. Rear brakes, when I got it, were completely useless, and all I had to do to fix that, I couldn't help myself. Kids wanted to ride it here the other day, so I fixed that already. I believe that is a disc brake setup. At least it looks like it to me from outside the shield. I haven't pulled the wheel off and pulled the cover, but it sure looks like a disc brake where you'd have a rotor in there and a caliper. And typically, if that's the case and you've got one of these little dealios, this is your adjustment. It adjusts the preload on those pads in there. So I backed this nut off, tightened that down until it just started to drag a little bit, backed it off just a smidge and jammed up that nut, and voila, we've got rear brakes. So there was some janky stuff happening here too. They had a couple of nuts jammed on here, so they had more adjustment out of it, and whatever. Got rid of all that, which also makes the parking brake functional. Apply the rear brakes, squeeze that clip down into place, and that is your parking brake. So I got a little bit of carb work to do, a little bit of wiring work to do. This thing's got a 2,000-pound winch on the front of it, and I don't really care for the way they had it wired up or the way they had it mounted. They drilled some holes in the bumper, and they had it mounted about right here, which is not entirely improper, except that it kind of blocks the headlights, which seems to be a little counterproductive. So I'm in the middle of taking that guy off of there. Let's see if we can figure out a little bit different arrangement for mounting up that winch. Not sure what I'm going to come up with. To be honest, what I'd love to do is see that fair lead right in here, and that winch to sit back inside here. I'd get it back out, I'd protect it by the bumper, keep it underneath there, so if we're out in the rain or anything, that winch stays dry. It would just protect it a little bit. But I've got to make sure that if I do that, I don't have issues with the front tires hitting it when I'm at full lock. So, got that to do. What else? The boot for the rear drive shaft, right articulates. Needs a little love. Can you see that? You can see through it. It's not like that. That's not how it's supposed to be. So we got to do that. And I'd really love to find a muffler for this thing. Somebody went full send. They cut the muffler off of here and put an exhaust pipe on here off of a motorcycle. So it barks. It sounds pretty mean, but this is not a 300EX. I don't need it to sound like a race bike. It'd be kind of nice if I could use this early in the morning and late at night without having to worry about bothering the neighbors. So if you have any experience with these bikes, comment down below and give me your advice. Mainly, what I'm trying to do is determine what year this bike is. And as I understand it, you can decode that information from the VIN number here. But as it just so happens, the middle of the VIN number that contains the 10th digit, which is supposed to tell me the year, is all scratched off. So that's not ideal. But as I understand it, there's not a whole lot that changed on these bikes, on the 350s, between I think 1986 or 7 and about 1999 when they quit making the 350. So parts availability and whatnot should be reasonable. Shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, it's a new toy. I came into it right. I got a good deal on it. It popped up on Facebook Marketplace, and I was the first one to get there with cash in my hand. So we left with it in the back of the truck. Just about the same time that a guy did drive in that had driven an hour and 45 minutes for it. He offered to pay the seller more than what he was asking for it, and to his credit, the seller told him that the bike was sold. So we ended up with it. So happy to have that. That's going to be a nice tool to have around the farm here. We'll bring in the video camera here and film some footage as I try and rehab this thing and make it a decent unit for us to use around here. Electric start's nice. The kids like to come out and rip around the yard on three-wheelers and four-wheelers and go-karts and have a good time. So it's nice to have this. Four-wheel drive will be nice. We'll be able to use this in the snow a lot more so than the three-wheeler. And I don't have a lot of hills around here, so we kind of like to sled redneck style. We'll hitch them up behind an ATV and drag them around for an hour or two. It's a good time. So that's what I'm into here so far. Alright fellas, well, we're back on the Big Bear. Kind of piddling with this thing a little bit. I took those two brackets off. Those were, I think, plow brackets that were mounted down here under the foot pegs. They're kind of in the way. They hang down low and catch weeds and corn stalks and everything else. So I got those removed. Of course, it wasn't without an issue. The bolts that are in there to hold the foot pegs on then are too long, so I had to shorten those. One of them stripped out, so I had to tap it out and put a larger bolt in it. I got that taken care of. I'm preparing to address the issue with the shift lever. I went ahead and took it off, and what I intend to do is just reach in here with a cutoff disc on my grinder and just open that gap up a little bit so that I can put a little additional pressure on there with the bolt. The bottom end of this shift lever is stripped out, so I'll put a longer bolt all the way through with a nut on the bottom and really be able to pull that shut. I'm hopeful that that will kind of correct for the weakness in some of those splines. I don't know if you can see those in there or not, but some of them are not so great. So that's what I'm going to do. We'll touch that thing up a little bit and see if that gives us a little bit of additional clamping pressure, if we can keep it tight that way. Open that up just a little bit. We'll go ahead and bolt it back onto the bike here and see if that's enough. I'm hopeful that that'll allow me to pinch that shut just a little bit harder and tighten it up there so there's not so much slop in that shifter. Let's get it back on the bike here. Well, there you have it. It's not perfect, but it is better. It's not as tight as I'd like it to be, but it's better than it was. And the location is right now. I think it slipped on those splines and wasn't really located where it should have been, so it was kind of awkward to shift gears. So that's a little better. It's a couple little things off the list here this evening. The next one up will be that winch, getting that guy relocated, getting it tucked up inside there someplace, or at least down out of the way of the lights. I'd like to be able to have some visibility here at night. Kind of defeats the purpose of having headlights if got something mounted right in front of them. So that's probably the next thing. That's it for now. We'll use this guy a little bit. Use it around the farm here. It's already proven to be pretty handy. So happy to have it. It's a nice addition. Thanks for watching.